Holy crap. We're 20 feet up in the air. I mean, 1 minute, whew, we're flying. The next minute, we're falling. And I look down, and all I can see is those damn little playground horses in the ground rushing right back up for us.
To understand how we got there, I'm going to have to take you back 10 or 11 years.
The museum hill. In the summer, that's where we spent our time basically trying to kill ourselves on the merry-go-round. Now in the wintertime, that was a whole nother story because that's where we would go sledding anytime it snowed. The only obstacle when sledding wasn't just the merry-go-round. You had these little play horses there, and then there was a stagecoach right behind that. If you go up the hill about 3/4 of the way, there's a tree. So you got to miss the tree. But then on the other side of that tree is a metal Indian teepee. So we've got merry-go-round, metal teepee up here, tree up here, stagecoach here, and then we've got little horses, little ride-on horses in front of the stagecoach. Then in the center of the hill, that was really pretty part of the safe zone. There really wasn't anything in your way except just a little bit off to the side of the safe zone, there was another metal teepee 3/4 of the way up the hill. We had fun. We slid down that hill all the time, but if you lost control, you weren't really worried about hitting kids. You were trying to figure out if you could get off your sled before you A, ran into a teepee, hit the tree, hit a stagecoach, or went face first right into that merry-go-round. And trust me, that hill claimed more than one kid, either a face plant straight into one of those metal teepees. You hear someone hollering and getting up crying, they're busted up, or someone went face first underneath that freaking merry-go-round. Where the most obstacles were was the fastest part of the hill, and that was the hill like everybody, that was the hill, that was the part of the hill that everybody wanted to sled on, right? You wanted to go as fast as you could. Oh, and then not to mention, do we have stagecoach, horses, teepee, tree, teepee, merry-go-round, but just beyond the merry-go-round by like 5-10 feet is a creek and a tree line. You're hauling butt down the hill, you're dodging trees, you're dodging teepees, you're trying not to run into that stagecoach, and then stop yourself before you hit a tree or went into the creek. It was chaos, total chaos. It really wasn't an unfamiliar sound for someone to either run into the stagecoach, bounce off a tree, face first into a teepee, or face first right underneath that merry-go-round. I mean, there were kids getting busted up all the time. Now you'd think after spending our childhood trying to kill ourselves or near misses with all this stuff that we had learned our lesson. Fast forward 10, 11 years, now I'm in my early 20s, doing what anybody in their early 20s does on the weekend, drinking, and drinking a little too much. And one of the guys I grew up with was over at the house, and we were drinking together. It had snowed, been snowing. The kids had been out sledding all day long on the hill. So now here it is, it's what, close to midnight, maybe closer to 1 o'clock, and my buddy looks at me and he's like, dude, let's go sledding. Like, I don't have any sleds, man. I haven't bought any for years. And he's like, man, I got you covered. I got it covered, no worry. We'll go over to the house. He's like, I got something over in the garage. So we leave. We're still pretty much intoxicated during this whole point in time. And he goes in the garage. We couldn't find any sleds in there, but what he did find was one of those old tubes that you pull behind a boat to go tubing in. So it's just this big round saucer thing full of tubes, and it's aired up, ready to go. So we grabbed that thing and we hike it over to the hill because the hill's just right down the street. Now you got to imagine it's super cold. It had been in whatever the 30s that day. The kids had been sledding. A little bit of melting had gone on the hill. Now it is so cold. Everything that the kids had done prior have now been like iced over and packed down. So now it's like ice. So we get to the top of the hill, and this thing's big enough for both of us to run and jump on and ride down at the same time. We started off kind of in the middle and went down a couple times. It was fun. We almost went off in the creek. We had to throw ourselves off, grab a hold of it so that it didn't go in the creek. But then we're like, you know what? We need to let's see if we can take this down the fast side of the hill and just avoid hitting those horses. I'm like, the only thing we're really going to worry about is the trees back there, so we don't go off in the creek and hit the old trees. As we're walking up to go up there, we noticed some kids at some point in time during the day that day had built a ramp at the bottom of the steepest part of the hill. So now we've got this ramp that some kids have built, and it's probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet. Did a good job, 2 or 3 feet off, and it was at a pretty good angle, but it's solid as a rock now. So we go walking up to the top of the hill. We're laughing to ourselves all the way, and both of us are like, this is probably not, the smartest idea in the world. But, we're in our early 20s, we're going to do it anyway. So we take back and we run hard, and we both jump and dive, and we land on that tube. Down the hill we go. Go past the tree. We don't hit the tree. That's all good. We're lined out, and here comes that ramp. When we hit that ramp and came off of it, we took off. Whew! We shoot up straight up in the air like some kind of a kite, right? Like I'm looking around, all of a sudden I realize we're at treetop level with the trees, like straight up. I'm like, holy shit, we're 20 feet in the air. And as that happens and we start to fall, the tube starts to rotate around, and I'm looking back over my shoulder, and my buddy, he's on the lower side and he's looking down, and all I can see are those damn playground horses and the ground right underneath of us, and it is rushing back up for us to make impact. And there we go. Bam! Hit the ground. I mean, when I hit the ground and impacted, I look, and I literally, there's a horse, and just inches, I missed this horse. My buddy literally folds over one of those horses. Boof! It's just in half. The tube comes down. He's got the wind knocked out of him. Man, I got the wind knocked out of me, and we're both just laying there. He's like, that one hurt. I'm like, yep. He's like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm okay. And think about it, I'm still laying on the ground. He's still on top of a horse. He's like, you want to do it again? I'm like, yep. Hand up from the ground. Let's do her again.